Okay, so here we go. We've got another 3D printed Bakugan this time, and this time we have Saint Nemus. So this is Mega Nemus's evolution from New Vestroia. Huge shout out to Lone. Thank you for sending me this. I'm excited. So the Lone in the Bakugan community, if it's in my last video, I mentioned him as well. But Lone has created Saint Nemus, and here are the parts for assembly. And I mean, we're just gonna go through and do another 3D printed Bakugan. I have high hopes for this one. I'm a bit nervous because this one does look complex. I have some ideas going in about what I need to do and how I need to approach it, but this introduction is gonna be more like me familiarizing myself with the part, so bear with me here as I look at all these. I think I might actually zoom in quite a bit. Yeah, that's good enough. So this is a magnet mechanism piece. That's going to be complicated. I've got a couple of those, so I'll put those to the side. Main body seems simple enough. Nice and easy. I am excited for the paint job on this guy. I think I'm going to be able to do a pretty decent job at it. I think I'm going to bust out the old airbrush for it. So here is the chest. So it looks like something like this. Something like that. Yep. And we got the two spinning parts. So the coolest thing about this guy is it actually... he spins, like in the anime, so these two side pieces will actually spin around and stuff, because Nemus could change attribute, and that was like their way of showing it. And it looks like we've got two hands here, little hands. Wow, they're not even focusing in. Two hands, some kind of gear pieces for the spinning mechanism, okay, and then it looks like hinges of some kind. I'm not sure where these go, probably on the sides of the body. But these are all the pieces we have, so not a lot to work with. There's really not a lot to work with here. But all you need apparently is a Mega Nemus. So I have a Mega Nemus here we're going to be using for parts. I think this should probably come apart really easy. It's got a very similar way it works. I just closed him and I don't have a magnet. But very similar mechanisms, so it should be pretty easy to do. Obviously we got to start with painting. Before we do anything, we have to paint the Bakugan. So I have some pictures pulled up of what Nemus looks like. The Saint Nemus, it's pretty much yellow and a little bit of blue, and that's it. So I think we're going to start by masking it, airbrushing it, and then maybe for the smaller pieces, we'll take in a small brush and do all that. I don't know how much of this I'm going to record because typically I just kind of get into the zone, but I'll try and record as much as I can. I just feel like recording gets in the way of my process, especially when I'm trying something very new for the first time. After I've done it for a while and it's like routine in the back of my mind, I'm okay doing it, but I'm going to start by masking it in the areas. We'll take the airbrush some yellow onto there. Should be very easy. Clear coat it, and then we'll do the assembly. So I'll be back once I have masked off most of the main bits. So as you can see here, I've finished masking the main body for the most part. I need to adjust a little bit, but I think I'm gonna go for it. This is not perfect, the circle. It's really hard to get circles perfect when you're masking, so it's gonna be painted blue anyways, so I think it'll be fine as long as the majority of it's taken up. Or after looking at all the reference images, I don't really see a point in trying to mask stuff like this where the yellow is just gonna be like here. When I can use a paintbrush and slowly drip it in, or even like on the hands. Like I really debated doing the hands, but I don't see a point right here when I can more easily, it's less time and more precise if I take a brush and just do around like the little hands right there. I will be back once that is painted. If you want to start doing your own 3D printing, look no further than Piocreat, who sent me their Halot X1 Resin 3D printer. I get a lot of questions about how I make my 3D printed Bakugan, and the Halot X1 has just made things a lot easier. The Halot X1 features a 10.1-inch 16K ultra high resolution LCD screen and auto leveling capabilities. It also features a static build plate, which has this cool twist off feature, meaning you no longer need to scrape your models off the build plate, risking any kind of damage. It also prints up to 170 millimeters a second and features an easy to use interface with Wi-Fi capabilities. I was sent 3 of their ABS-like Resin 2.0 to test, and went with their black for this Battle Axe Vladitor model made by SC Arts. You can find this model as well as links to the Halot X1 down below in the description. Definitely check them out. After printing and using the unique twist build plate, I was impressed with the results. This literally took one exposure test to figure out the exposure I needed, and I was ready to go. After a quick clean and cure, here are the results of the model. After that, a quick paint and assembly led us to this. If you want to make your own 3D printed Bakugan, the Halot X1 makes it as simple as it can be. If you want to check out the Halot X1 for yourself, use the link on the screen or in the description to go straight to the webpage. Now, let's go see what Saint Nemus has in store for us. Okay, and here we are with that airbrushed. Here's me just peeling off all the tape. I will say the majority of this is just masking. All you do is just add a lot of tape. There is one really satisfying pull I do here in just a second. I don't know why I decided to go off camera, but watch this. Ready? Here we go. Ooh, that was nice. I love that. That was super satisfying. But yeah, I mean, this is just me taking off all the masking. I'm pretty satisfied with how it turned out. There are a couple spots where obviously the airbrush kind of went over, and that's easy to wipe off with a little bit of isopropyl alcohol and a Q-tip, but the rest of this is just me, you know, peeling it off, taking it off. I'm really satisfied with how the circle turned out. It got a little bit of overlap, but once you paint the blue on, you will never tell it even happened. So overall, pretty easy. Masking just takes a while, but the rest of it's just me painting. So I'm going to do a quick montage of me painting, and we'll be back once everything's touched up. Alright, and here we are completely painted. I used just some basic acrylic paint for the blue and then the gray there, because there is a little bit of gray. I debated using silver, but in the show, like especially in the picture, it really shows gray. So even on these wheels here, I did everything in gray just to try and match that. And then here, as you can see, here's the rest of the body, just a small little bit of yellow there. I just used a paintbrush for that as well. And then you can see the head and hands also just a little bit of yellow. The crown wasn't too hard. What I did struggle with a bit was the eyes, but you know, just a steady hand, small paintbrush, able to wipe a little bit of away, it was good to go. There's the body as well, just the underside. I ended up filling in the lines here just because it was kind of unavoidable, but I think it turned out good. Up next is something I don't think I've ever actually shown on camera, but we're going to be adding G power to Nemus, and we're doing 600 Gs because that's what I saw on the wiki, and here's me just kind of trying to figure out where I want to orient it. I think I'm going to put it there on the body. I think that's a good place because the hands will also kind of hide it, or the arms. If you've never used a water slide decal, it's pretty simple. So first off, you got to make sure you have the custom slide, then you add just a little bit of water to the surface you'll be applying it on. Off camera here, you can't see it, but I'm soaking that sticker in some water to get it loose. And then it's pretty easy. All you do is peel that sticker off the backing, and then we're just going to apply it to the body like so. You have to wiggle it around, and then once you've waited for the water to dry, it'll stick. And then I also like to go over this with a layer of clear coat, because clear coating it kind of ensures that it sticks. And I'm also going to be adding this sticker to the other parts of the body, specifically one of the wheels, because in the show, Nemus changes attributes. So he has Darkus, and then what we think is unofficially, but we think it's Ventus. And so I'm also going to be applying those to one side of the wheel, so we actually have like a game gimmick instead of just making it super anime accurate, which I think will be super fun. I also realized the attribute stickers are kind of on backwards, so I end up flipping that off camera. So here is everything all together. Everything's been clear coated, so it should be pretty safe and should prevent scratching. And now we have to go on to the assembly. So the first step is to build the magnet piece, and I'm going to try and explain this as best as I can. There's no great way to explain it, but you do need needle nose tweezers to get the piece in there. You're using the same exact spring that is in Mega Nemus for its own magnet deployment system, but I found that this one wasn't big enough, so I actually ended up using one for the final result. I used one from Alto Brontes, but I was really struggling to get it to click up and down because there's a little tail piece that you need to get just right. It's super finicky, but once you get it, you get it. So from there, the next step is to just work your way up the body. So I added the lower torso and upper torso and connected the exact same springs that Mega Brontes has. The lower torso spring you have to bend some to make it straight instead of hooked, but this is just me testing the Bakugan to see if it's actually working. And then I went ahead and added the head and the hands. The hands did give me a little bit of trouble. I wanted to make them stiff enough that they weren't going to flop around, and I did manage to do that. I used some smaller screws than what Mega Nemus had, which I think worked out just fine. They ended up working great. They're just shorter screws. And then the head spring, I actually ended up, after this and in the final showcase, you'll see, I actually removed it again and took it off because the head was leaning back super far, and I didn't like that. So I ended up adjusting and like bending the spring just a little bit to make it push the head all the way up, and that seemed to work. But here you go, here's just another shot here of me closing the Bakugan. As you can see, I'm struggling with that latch a little bit because I, at this point in time, didn't have the Alto Bronte spring in, so you can see how it's not working just right. The last step here is to now put on the spinning parts, and honestly it was just a couple pins. Just make sure the wheels don't touch the body so there's no friction, and you're good to go. As you can see there, I've got the attribute symbols on correctly. I've adjusted everything, and you know, my camera's a little wonky here, but you can see that it's, you know, spinning pretty well. I will say that I'm having a little bit of trouble like rolling it to get it to spin. Sometimes I can, sometimes I can't. It's just that magnet piece is so finicky. But overall, like, the spinning feature works just fine. Just make sure you have everything correct and you should be pretty much good to go. I'm really impressed with the spinning feature. I didn't even know something like this was possible, but like, I'm getting a really nice spin, and it works with the game super well because you're able to like randomly get an attribute, which I think is super cool. So I mean, while you probably wouldn't play with this in an actual game, you technically could because he's got G-Power and attributes, so I just think that's super neat. So now I guess it's time for those glamour shots. Here is Saint Nemus in all his glory. I'm sure that Baron would be very proud of what the community's created here today. Shout out to Lone in the Bakugan community again. Seriously great work. Thank you for supplying me the parts to create this and the knowledge as well to help me build it up. It's a super impressive model. I'm very proud of it. The gimmick is amazing. The spinning feature is by far the greatest thing I think we've seen in a 3D print so far. If you want to build your own, make sure you reach out to Lone. You can find him in the Cube Cove Discord server or my own Discord server. Just make sure you send him a message, and he should be able to get back to you. But I think we're doing Baron some justice here. Doing the community some justice by getting something we've never had before. Let me know, do you like the model? Do you like Saint Nemus? And with that, my name's Jesse. I'll see you all in the next video. Peace out.